Good afternoon, everybody. It's the Dog with you. Another edition of Weber This Week. It's a Monday, October 2nd, 2017. How can you believe it? October already? Yeah, it is. Nice day, though. Beautiful outside. Hey, have you ever wondered how these comedy acts get together? How's it all put together? And you ever wonder about the acts that come in on a Friday, Saturday night from across the country? Well, we have the gentleman who's in charge of that, the Director of Entertainment for Lago, Jason Klug, is my special guest for the half hour today on Weber This Week. Jason, thanks again for carving out 30 minutes. I know you're a busy guy, so thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Jason, let's talk the basics, where you were born, where you went to school, and how you got involved in becoming the Director of Entertainment, how that all worked out.
I lost a bet.
Okay.
I grew up in I was born in Syracuse. I grew up in Watertown, New York, and found my way back to Syracuse University. Mm-hmm. I originally went for vocal performance, and then somewhere halfway through my first semester, I got very interested in the business side of it. So I switched to music industry, and eventually got my degree from there and graduated some years ago, and then just stayed in the Syracuse area. And I did an internship. I guess how I got into the music business portion of it is I did an internship locally where most of my fellow classmates were going to New York City or L.A. I thought, well, you know what? Everyone's kind of done that. I've heard what they've done. I'd like to try something different. So I stayed local with a concert promoter, putting on shows, and I learned everything I could from them.
Okay. Now, you heard through the grapevine that a casino's going to be built in Tiger, New York, and you're flabbergasted and shocked like most people in the Finger Lakes were. Really? A big casino? And so you heard about it, and what was your first thought process? And did you interview for the job? Did you send your resume in to Jeff or anything?
I thought it was a great spot. I mean, being halfway between two pretty good markets, Syracuse and Rochester. I just thought, well, that's fantastic. Someone really did their homework on that, and just put in my resume, which was pretty stacked at that point. I'd been traveling throughout the region, and sometimes going around the country, helping to produce different shows. Right. So at that point, I said, well, I've heard that the room is going to be pretty spectacular. I'd like to be a part of that.
And you got hired.
And I got hired.
That's great. Well, you know, Jason, I know people ask me all the time. They're excited. Jason Klug, my special guest today on Weber This Week. He is the Director of Entertainment, a very busy guy I can attest to because I go in, work a couple days, 2-3 days now since we hired in Heather. But he's running around a lot of days, especially on show day. He's very, very busy. He's a tough guy to get it, but he gets it done. When you heard about the plans for the Vine, I know Jeff Babinski took myself and Jimmy Wilmot, along with Jeff, took us, myself and Mary, we were celebrating anniversary, took us on a tour when it was just a mud slide inside. Okay. They were telling us this is where this is going to be, and this is where this is going to be, and the portico is going to be over here, and oh, by the way, this is going to be the Vine, and it was mud. And you could see, you know, it was like a Roman Empire looking, okay, it's going to be, how many people it's going to hold? 23 to 2,500. I said, wow, it's unique. What was your reaction when you heard and you got involved knowing that the size was a small venue compared to, you know, what you normally see in an entertainment center where they could hold 15,000, 20, 25? I'm sure you've been through that. Right. What was your initial reaction when you heard it was kind of quaint with the smallness?
I thought it was a great size for a room. I mean, you have lots of amphitheaters and lots of places for acts to play that can be pretty large. And what that does is that it really only caters to certain acts, you know, some mega popular acts. Sure. And even at that point, maybe they can't fill that room. So to have a room like this, it really offers another choice for mid-range to top-range acts to come in. And plus, I'm a big fan of theaters. You know, arena shows, there's just so many people, and maybe you have to sit really, really far away. Yeah. So I like the intimacy of a theater much, much more than I would than ever.
The cliche is there's not a bad scene. If you've never been to the Vine for a comedy show or a normal act coming through that we have on our website, of course, just pull up and click on Vine, and you'll check on all the shows that are booked in the upcoming weeks. And you certainly will know, and you can buy the tickets, and it's quite easy to get hold of tickets, and Jason and his team would love to have you there. You know what I was thinking? You must have been involved in the arrangement as far as making sure that the sound equipment and the lighting equipment was nothing but top-notch, and a lot of people have commented in a favorable manner how well that has been constructed. So you obviously were involved with that, and talk a little bit about that setup. You wanted nothing but the best if you're going to put it on.
Right, yeah. To some degree, I had some input in there. But the people who really, really know gear, I have to ask the questions and get the answers to them and trust their opinion. So we had an installer come in, and he works with the budget that he has to get the best that we possibly can for that room. But it's a really, really great system.
Oh, I know.
mean, the system that we have there and the power that we have is bigger than some of the other systems that have been used on some of the festivals that I've worked.
Well, Jason Klug's my special guest. And by the way, Jason, one comment that I hear all the time, and you certainly can vouch for this, there's not a bad seat in the house.
No, there's really not.
Not too many.
The way that it's designed is to give the best angles for every single seat. And I think that really shows the foresight that the architects had in building such a room. I mean, the stage is a little bit shallower, which brings all the players up close to the front of the stage. And it's so when you're sitting there, there's even on the wings, you get a really good view of everything that's happening on stage.
Before we forget this, we talked before. Obviously, Jason came up to get set up to be on my show today. We want to send out some love, and I know one person you want to send out some really a shout out to, and that of course is Tiffany Collingsworth. Tiffany, of course, does a great job putting your things together. Give a little love her way, and you got some other people you want to spotlight.
Yeah, so Tiffany deals a lot with the back of house hospitality for the bands, making sure that they're comfortable, because that's a really important item. Any artist that comes in, you want to make sure that they feel comfortable, and if you take care of them, they'll take care of the people coming to the concert. And so I guess that's the most direct impact that I can have with the band and for the people coming in. Also, Mike Richards is my head of sound. Just does amazing. I've had worked with him many, many times over the years, and so I guess you could say it was a very long interview process that I had with him. But he's just terrific. I mean, he's a local guy too.
Oh, is he?
He's from Seneca Falls.
Really?
Yeah, he's been living out here a number of years.
No kidding.
To find out that he was here close by,
wow,
really worked out, and he's been a tremendous asset and just a huge force for getting the place up and running.
Sure.
And then my lighting director is Anthony Fiumara. I mean, he's amazing. He understands technology in a way that I just can't. So, to be quite honest, I probably learn more from him than I think he ever will from me. At least on that front. And the box office manager, Pam Ferrara.
I love her.
She's my patron saint.
I love her.
She just works tirelessly to make sure that, at least on that front, we are all set. Because the amount of questions that you get on any day is it's astronomical. You have people looking for this or questions about where they're seating, and
I talked
is there a bad seat in the house? Where do we want to sit?
Exactly. We are. My wife and myself are 4X fans, and Jason knows what 4X means. That's a section at the Vine, and Mary loves there. So when we go to show, we've been going to quite a few of them. I always go up to Pam, and if I'm not assigned to that area, I ask Pam any chance to get in there, and she always accommodates us if she can. And we're on
4X
Hog Heaven. We love it.
Yeah, 4X is a great section.
We love it.
And for your listeners and viewers who don't know, that's just denotes certain sections.
Right.
It's really kind of cut right down the middle. You have odd sections on one side, even sections on another. And that's also that the ushers can direct you really quickly. So, they can just look at that and say, oh, you're going to be heading to section X4. You're just going to head down that way, and another usher will, get you to your seat.
Well, listen, I got to ask you because you're involved in this. Tell our viewers a little bit, if you would explain how you bring an act into Del Lago. Okay, do you have agencies that you work with that are searching people that are traveling around the Northeast, and they might want to visit you, and then you tell them you're looking for X, and then the money has to be about the same because you can't give anybody whatever they want. You obviously have a budget. So again, tell our viewers, how does that come to fruition?
Well, I hear about bands, and I'm like, okay, would that be good? And then I go and I grab some dice from the roulette table. I roll those, and I figure, okay, if it hits a certain number, then I should bring that act in. No, a lot of study goes into it. So
really?
Everyone always asks, that must be such a fun job, and it is.
Yeah.
They're absolutely correct, but the amount of stress in deciding what act should come in and what works for the area. You really, you have to figure out the math behind it all, but also there's a certain feeling, that has to go into it as well. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, do I feel like this person is going to sell? And will this artist, by the numbers, are they going to sell?
Good point. And you certainly have budgetary restraints. You can't give somebody an astronomical amount of money, I wouldn't think. You have certain requirements that you can only work with, and you go back and say, they want this much, you're willing to give them this much. It's kind of a negotiating.
Right.
I would
so
think.
there's lots of negotiations that, that we just can't make work. But, I would love to get all the biggest stars in the theater. The truth is that financially that can't be done because the cost of the seat would be too much money.
Oh, sure.
I mean, no one wants to pay $1,000 for a front row seat or more.
That'd be a tough pill to swallow, entire New York, and from our area, I don't think a lot of people would. It's always been interesting to me, and how people. You bring them in, and how that person get booked, and how does that take place behind the scenes? And you mentioned to me one time, we were talking, I think, in the Vine, and I asked you about knowing I was going to try to get you on the show, and I'm thankful you came in, about some of the requests made by the artists, and I know Tiffany goes through a laundry list of items that are required or asked for by the act. Like a special fruit or a special food or a special drink or type. Talk a little bit about that. So she's in charge of trying to source these items to make sure that they're there within reason, obviously.
Yeah, so I guess a little background on that. What you're talking about is the rider, and in this particular case, the hospitality rider.
Right.
Of items that artists need to feel comfortable throughout the day.
Right.
And you always hear, these stories of, this person wants just green M&Ms. I get asked that all the time. It's like, what's the thing with the M&Ms? And it's really
that's funny.
Those requests, strange requests, sometimes are just there just to make sure that you've read everything. So I'll do what's called an advance, both on the technical side and the hospitality side. And we'll also, we'll go through day of show schedule, security. I mean, I'll go through everything. And then I hand it off to each department. And for Tiffany, she'll get a list of, items that I've crossed out or things that are needed. And they're just, they could be something simple like LaCroix water. They're looking for that, or a certain kind of Pepsi product.
Right.
But I've seen some pretty weird things on the riders.
I can imagine.
But so those things like the green M&Ms, they're just there to make sure that you're paying attention. So when I'm advancing, I say, hey, listen, you're not just getting green M&Ms. Sorry, it's just not happening.
And you mentioned to me, I think, during our discussion about the background, the props that are required by some acts. And you had told me, Harold, there's people that want certain item, and it would have cost a small fortune, I think you told me, and you negotiated and found something a lot less expensive.
Yeah.
Those things must come up too.
Yes, absolutely. So everything is up for negotiation.
Sure.
And if you can't, and it's just going to cost too much money, then you can't make the show work.
Yeah. And I think that's a fair statement. Well, listen, it's about 15 after. We've gone about halfway through the show. I'm sure Jason's got much more to talk about, some upcoming shows. We can run down a few of the upcoming acts. We can talk about, what... Oh, there's an elephant in the room. A couple of criticisms that I've read online, and we're going to have Jason deal with that about the sound system or whatever. We'll get to that. Jason Klug's my guest this afternoon here on Weber This Week. We'll come back after we hear from our great sponsors to make this show possible. Acting as a gateway to the Finger Lakes, Del Lago leverages the natural beauty and unique offerings while enhancing tourism in the region. The casino features 2,000 slot machines, 89 gaming tables, including 12 poker tables, portico by Fabio Viviani, a 2,400-person entertainment center, farmers market buffet. The hotel, spa, and banquet facility will open summer 2017. Cayuga Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Gold Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. Learn more at thegouldhotel.com. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at mcgeediner.com. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at newarkpilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's H. Weber the Dog with you here on a good old, beautiful, absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, beautiful day in the month of October. Jason and myself were talking. It's hard to believe we're talking October already. Huh. Halloween coming up in a few weeks. Hey, listen, Seneca Metal is a great sponsor of this show. I want to remind everybody, White-tailed Deer Hunting Seminar with Charles Alzheimer. You've seen his articles in Deer and Deer Hunting, Outdoor Life, and Whitetail News. Now see the author live. Charlie Alzheimer is not just another outdoor sports writer. He's a whitetail expert, and he's coming with tips that could make this your best hunting season ever. Seneca Metals Educational Center, 1977 State Route 414, Seneca Falls. It's coming up October the 12th. That's a Thursday at 6:30 p.m. $8 per person, the cost, and of course is recommended to be a family affair. We would hope that you would bring ages 12 and up to take advantage of that nice seminar put on by Seneca Metals. And one other comment that ties in with Jason and Del Lago, our good friends Gary and Kathy Schlegel, the owners of the legendary famous McGee Diner en route to Del Lago, will be my guests next week. And I know my ratings will go right through the roof, not because Gary is a sponsor, but his wife Kathy now is involved in a business. So I'm sure she'll have a lot of friends checking her out. Gary and Kathy Schlegel, my guests next week, the owners of the McGee Diner. Back with Jason Klug, who is the director of entertainment for Del Lago, who's been kind enough to carve out 30 minutes of a very busy schedule that he has. And I know firsthand when I'm in there, he's been running around back and forth nonstop. And if he's not on the phone, he's got a phone in his hand. So, again, thank you for Jason for coming in and spending some time with us. Jason, let's get the elephant out of the room. I've had a couple of criticisms, maybe two or three since you've opened, since we started February 1st. As you all know, we opened the doors. There were comments negative relative to the sound. It's too loud. Sometimes it's too muffled. Speak to that issue, if you would be so kind, about the equipment and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those are all good things to address. If we had hit it, if we had hit it right out of the park from the very first day, I would be worried. Right. Because I think people were lying and saying that they don't have some issues. So when you get different acts in, they carry their own sound guys, and we do the best we can to tune the room. And will that work for every act that's coming in? Maybe, maybe not. And are there things that we can do on our end? Yes, there are, and we have been doing that slowly but surely, making sure that the room is acoustically superior to anything else that's out there. I don't know if you've been in there lately. We've put acoustical tiles on the front mezzanine wall just to make sure that those flat surfaces aren't bouncing any sounds off of them to kind of make a muffled sound that you hear. But then again, you'd only hear that in a very small section, and those have been taken away. So if someone's been to the show and thought, hey, you know what, I couldn't hear extremely well, they might want to try it again. So.
And by the way, we were at the Paul Anka, which was a week ago.
Yes,
so
fantastic show.
I thought
what a showman!
I thought he was great.
Yeah,
I mean, and my wife and myself, that's our era. So we were excited. We're excited about Neil Sedaka coming up in November. But you know, God, he was good, and the musicians that he has in the back were phenomenal. Right. The horns and the guitar player, it was just phenomenal. We really enjoyed it, and the music was spectacular. I mean, the sound system was absolutely, to me, phenomenal that night. And he is a showman. He was walking through the crowd. He was doing a good job.
He most certainly is. I haven't seen anyone like him, and I had never worked with them before. I've never seen anyone like him that goes into the crowd that way and just has such a way within the audience. So when you have a legend like that, I mean, we've had some legends in our short time that have come through. Wayne Newton is a great example, but I mean, Paul Anka, to have him on stage was just amazing.
I know Jason Klug's my special guest, and as we wrap up our show in about 7-8 minutes, but I know with everything you do in this life, there's sadness, and I know that Montgomery Gentry had to be in your short period of time running Del Lago, and in your background as a guy that's involved in concert promotions. It had to sicken you when you heard about the news. Everybody was coming the next night. He was going to Jersey to do a show. They were doing a show and then coming into Waterloo, and it was just had to be just earth-shattering to hear that.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's nothing compared to the family and the fans of Montgomery Gentry. I mean, my heart goes out to them. And just from my small part of the country, you know, we really felt that deeply. Everyone on my team, and including myself, we were looking forward to that show. I mean, you hear about some artists and how great they are to work with and the team that they have, and we were really looking forward to that one. So our condolences.
And I'm sure, Jason, you would agree with me, and I know, Jimmy, it's something that's tragic today what happened in Las Vegas last night. I know that that's close to your heart because that's what you do as far as getting involved with acts. And Jason Aldean has taken the stage, and all of a sudden complete bedlam takes place. And, you know, it just... I woke up this morning and I was pinching myself to believe it was true.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I think anyone who organizes concerts or festivals, it's always something that's on their mind. And you prepare for the worst and you hope for the best. Right. And it's such a shame. I'm sure over the next few days, weeks, months, we'll hear a lot more about the subject and making sure that people are safe at shows. I know that we try our hardest all the time just to make sure that people are safe inside our walls. It's just one of those things that really sickens you to hear that something like that happened. And you know, for a lot of the people that come in, the acts that come in, you know, I saw a post from one of my friends in the business who said that, you know, over the past few years, the partying hasn't been, hey, see you down the road. It's stay safe out there. And I think that's more true today now than ever, more than ever. One
thing that Jason Klug's been my guest so far for this show, and we appreciate him taking time out. One thing I've noticed along with other people, and by the way, before I get you off the air, you were kind enough to friend me on Facebook, but I was noticing that not only do you have the pizzazz of coming out, I should tell everybody if you haven't been to the Vine, this gentleman does a wonderful job of hosting and coming out, introducing the acts. He's got some showmanship. He reminded me of the guy that, you're too young to remember this, he would come on and do the heavyweight fights, and I can't think of his name, out of Las Vegas. and you had.
Yeah,
I can picture him. Got the white tuxedo. Oh my God,
no,
Jimmy, what is it?
You
know what I'm talking about. The guy from Las Vegas. And
Michael, not Greller. That's Justin Spieth's caddy, but
yes, Michael Butler, not Butler.
I can't remember.
But anyways, he
the
reminded
guy.
me.
The guy.
He was the one that always did and you reminded me of that. Jason does a great job. He's got the pizzazz and he's got the background and gets people in a good mood and he knows he's ready to introduce whoever he's got on stage. And I meant to compliment, since I've been involved in media all my life, you really do a great job. And also, when I was checking your photos on Facebook, there was a video you were strumming a guitar, and I think it was like a pub in Syracuse. Is that true?
Yeah. So
I think so. You do a little entertainment on the side?
Yeah, over the years. Well, because that's what I started out doing was performing.
Perfect.
And it's something that I enjoyed until just recently. I mean, with this position, it doesn't really offer a lot of time.
Right.
But that's okay. I really like being behind the scenes.
Sure.
But
But
I've been known to perform.
You sounded good. You sounded good. And doing what you do at the shows, I get a kick out of it because you are good at that, and you get the crowd laughing and get them excited, and they're getting pumped up. Of course, as well as I do, time is of the essence. You don't want to spend too much time on stage because they want to see the act.
Right, yeah, they want to see the act.
But you do a great job of that. You really do.
I think it's more just I try to engage them just enough so that everyone understands the safety announcement that I have to make.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We got to think of that guy's name, Michael. That's going to drive me nuts. I'll be Googling it when I leave her today.
Buffer? Michael Buffer?
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Is that what it is?
Yep.
I think so. It was great. And that's what reminded me when you come on stage. Yeah. He does a great job.
I'm definitely old enough to remember.
Yeah, okay. He did all the big fights,
introducing
the fighters and doing his countdown and so forth. One thing that, before we sign off, that you attribute to you and the way you obviously operate, you're very visible, obviously, on a show night, because I, looking around and getting ready for you to come on, but you're always walking aisles and you're always walking the space of the Vine, and that is not a phony aspect on your part. You're actually feeling the emotion of the people, making sure everybody's happy, and if they have any issues, you want to hear about it and take care of it, correct?
Yes.
That's kind of what you do, because I see you scrolling around there and around, and you spend a lot of time doing that, and I was noticing that, and I said, if I ever get him on the show, I'm going to ask him that, because I think it's a nice touch. If anybody has any last-second issues, you want to get it taken care of, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not able to get to everything.
True.
But at least if I'm visible, if someone has a concern or if there's something that I notice that might be out of place,
bingo.
I tend to run my team or our team and practice what I preach. Sure. I think everyone should be able to do everything. If there's a spill,
right,
I will be the first one to help clean that up.
Right.
And I would expect that of any one of my staff.
Exactly.
I don't think that anyone is above doing those sort of things and just dealing with any issues that might come up. So I try to run. That's how I try to run the department.
Well, you do a good job with it. And again, I work part-time, as you all know, out there, and my schedule has been cut back. We brought in Heather. She's done a great job. But I do spend 2 or 3 days out there, and I see Jason a lot. And again, thank you very much for coming in. It's been a pleasure, and hope to get you back down the road.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Look forward to it.
All right. Jason Klug, ladies and gentlemen, the Director of Entertainment, spending 30 minutes on the Weber Show, and we certainly appreciate him. And again, folks, I'm telling you, not because I work part-time there, not because Jason's in the studio today. You've got to get out to the Vine. The tickets are very reasonable. Go on to our website, Lago Resort and Casino. Click on Vine. It'll show you all the entertainment acts, tell you all the dates. You can check on the price ranges. Get involved and come on out. You'll have a great, great time. So by the way, next week we talked about it. Gary and Kathy Schlegel will be my guests, the owners of McGee Diner. They're a lot of fun. And again, Kathy just started helping out with the business, and thank God, get Gary out of that. Speaking for my friend Jason Klug, along with Jimmy Senecrowitz, the dog, bidding you farewell, and we'll catch you next week, everybody. Enjoy your week.